Hey friends, this is Molly Shar from the Worthiest Project. I use she, her pronouns. And you're listening to the Worthiest Podcast, the show that reminds you that you're not broken and you're not alone. Today, we're taking a look at burnout. I like to think of burnout as boiling frog syndrome. So we all know that story. If you put a frog in a pot on the stove and put it in tepid water and the water slowly heated up and the frog would just hang out in there, not really noticing how the heat was increasing, and slowly the heat would continue to increase. The water would get warmer and warmer until the point of boiling, at which point the frog could not jump out. By the time the frog realized that it was in trouble, it was too late. And so I think of burnout in this way because it's really the result of chronic stress that we haven't processed out of our bodies. And it just builds and it builds and it builds. And we tend to, even in the beginning, as we're under stress, it almost has a positive effect on us. We become more productive. We sometimes are getting accolades because our society just tends to reward the hustle and give us credit for being under stress all the time. And so it can happen the way with the frog, that it just gets worse and worse, and we are not even really noticing it. And though the World Health Organization defines burnout in this narrow way, they say burnout is resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. That's a definition that they adopted in 2019, and it was actually seen as a step forward because it acknowledged burnout as this actual thing, which of course it is. But my definition of burnout includes chronic stress from all sorts of areas in our lives. It can be financial problems, relationship issues. It can be related to the burdens of caregiving, and on and on. So as we think about being under high levels of stress on a regular basis, and we know that it builds and builds and adds up, this is what burnout can actually look like. As our bodies are jacking up production of the stress hormones, which are super helpful in the short term to get us through urgent, stressful situations. We really need them. They're really helpful. If we were being chased by a lion, we would really want all of that pumping through us. But in the long term, they can be really harmful. And over time, it gets us to the point where we're experiencing feeling helpless and overwhelmed and cynical and irritable. We sometimes have insomnia, which is a big one because chronic stress messes with the sleep regulation system. So you're not recharging through sleep. And then that can exacerbate your stress levels. In addition to emotional exhaustion, it can be physical exhaustion. It can affect how you are eating, including eating less because you're distracted, or eating more because you're craving comfort foods to soothe you, and eating unhealthily because you are too tired to cook, which can lead to digestive issues. All of these can be caused by being burned out. And that doesn't even get to what I think of as the headline symptom of burnout, which is just losing your sense of overall well-being. So where does this leave us? Jennifer Moss, who wrote a book called The Burnout Epidemic, which was published last year, she notes that 2019 definition by the World Health Organization of burnout is important because it acknowledges that burnout is more than just an employee problem. It's an organizational problem that requires an organizational solution. And I agree. This is really important. The main message we get out there, especially from social media, is that burnout is on us. We just need to do more self-care to fix it. And that is not the whole story. Absolutely. We do need our employers to take burnout seriously. And they are starting to get the message. But it's going to be a long haul before they figure it out. So the most important thing we can do for ourselves right now is to learn how to complete the stress cycle. And I am a huge fan of the work of Emily and Amelia Nagoski, who wrote the book Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. And this book was just a game changer for me in my own burnout recovery. And what the Nagoski sisters point out is that the stressors that we face today, the things that we see and hear and even imagine may hurt us, those stressors trigger the same neurological and physiological shifts in our bodies as if we spotted a lion lurking nearby. And as I said before, our bodies do this great job of flooding us with adrenaline and cortisol and glycogen to get us ready for action, as if it was a lion. So our bodies don't know whether it's a lion or it is somebody who broke the copier machine at work and you're under deadline and it's a huge stress. Our bodies don't know. So our bodies are reacting in this way, increasing our heartbeat, tensing our muscles, putting us on high alert. And in order to do this, our bodies have to deprioritize functioning of other organs. And that's everything from slowing our digestion and reproductive functioning to things like tissue repair. So you've got, on one hand, your body charging with the stress response and also letting some pretty important functions drop off in order to follow that stress response. And the problem is that we aren't running away from that lion. Most of the time, we just hold that stress inside. And so even when the stressor goes away, the stress cycle has not been completed. The systems affected by stress never really get the memo. So the very response designed to save us can actually slowly kill us. So we've got to proactively complete that stress cycle. So a 30-minute run, imagining the lion behind you will do it, but really any movement helps, especially if you are someone like me who does not at all enjoy exercise. It's good to know, I think, that any movement can help. I am a fan of dance breaks and shaking it out, deep breathing, doing something creative can help. Hugging a long, meaningful hug, hugging a friend or a pet, watching a sad movie and just sobbing through it. All of those can help complete the stress cycle for ourselves. So we've got to be sure that we're doing that every single day because stress is not going away. We also need to make sure we have people around us who are supporting us. And that can be your immediate family, your chosen family, friends, and yes, online friends can be real friends. Even our companion animals, we've got to have those supports. We need that system, that support system. And we also need to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves in meaningful ways, ways that will help us process our feelings and disconnect from those sources of stress. I think we're going to be talking a lot more about burnout in future shows, but for now, I just want to encourage you to see if you're able to shift your thinking even a bit about where your stress comes from and where it goes. I have a cool resource on my website, a quick quiz that will show you what is going to help you the most when you're ready to go from a place of exhaustion and perhaps true burnout to writing your next chapter of your life. You can find that at worthiest.org/quiz. And until next time, I'm Molly Shar, and this is the Worthiest Podcast.